Good morning and welcome to the Center for Women's Leadership at Portland State University in Portland, Oregon in the United States of America. We wanted to spend some time talking a little bit about leadership and specifically about girls and women's leadership. And so without further ado, I wanted to introduce our panel of speakers that are with us this morning.
My name is Elif. I work for the center as a graduate assistant. I'm a PhD student in PSU, and I'm really happy to be part of the center.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Hassania. I'm from Morocco, and I felt a leader with Community Solution Program, and I am in fellowship with Center for Women's Leadership, and I support them with empower girls and creating council for the summit that will be in April, right? Yes. Okay.
Hello, my name is Melissa, and I'm the Programs and Communications Assistant here at the Center for Women's Leadership. I very recently joined the team, and I'm eager to participate and engage girls and women all across not only the state of Oregon, but the world as well.
Hi, my name is Jalissa. I'm a student worker at the Center for Women's Leadership. I'm a psychology and sociology major. I've been working at the center for 3 years now. And yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you. And my name is Tracy Rossi. I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Women's Leadership. And the center is a place where we really try to, what we say is change the narrative around women's leadership here in Portland and in Oregon, meaning that we want to create a space where women feel empowered, and the services and the programs that we provide believe in women, and we provide a lot of opportunities for women to see other women leaders and to hear about how those women leaders have been successful, and to help emerging women leaders and girls lead from an authentic space and feel like they can create their own destiny instead of feeling like they have to look at male role models to define their leadership. So we are going to answer 3 questions to perhaps give a window into some of the work and how we view leadership here at the center. And I'll start off with the first question, which we wanted to ask, which is when did you decide or discover or feel like you were a leader? And I'll start, and then we'll go down the line here. I think that I first felt like I was a leader basically by my mom treating me like I was a leader. So when I was younger, I don't remember my mom in particular kind of ever talking to me and treating me like a baby or a little girl. She always provided opportunities where I felt empowered. So even at a very young age, I remember her saying, and she would make it accessible, but she would have, a few different outfits when I was going to preschool, so I must have been 3, and she placed 3 different outfits on the bed, and she'd say, which one do you want to wear? And I remember feeling so important because I could decide what it is that I wanted to wear. And we would be at the grocery store, and she would say, what do you think we should have for dinner tonight? And it seems really insignificant, but in retrospect, I think that making those decisions and having someone believe that the decisions that I was making were important enough for it to be something that a family rallied around made a difference. So I was very young, and I got that support inside my home. So when I left my home and went to school and interacted with other people, I already felt like I had, the way that we talk about it here is I had a seat at the table, that I had something to say, and that people should listen because people in my home listened. And I now try to provide those opportunities for anyone that I'm around, if it's a young girl or if it's someone who might not have felt that they have a lot of leadership skills because they haven't been provided those opportunities. I try to provide spaces where they can make decisions and feel a little more powerful than they might have already felt. So that's my answer. Jalissa?
Yeah, so I'm a pretty shy person, so for the longest, so sorry, I'm a little sick.
Okay.
For the longest time, I didn't feel like a leader because I was just so shy and quiet. I never spoke out. But then people around me would tell me that I had leadership qualities. So I remember in high school, I would join clubs, and then eventually I became president of like 3 clubs. And it was just like those people encouraging me, and just even now, like the environments I'm in, I feel like they push me to become a leader. So in my own way, even though I still am quiet, I feel like I am a leader, but like in a different way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My story is, I think I born as a leader, and I was always selected to the leadership roles because I think I was demanding, even though I wasn't realize it. But when day by day, when I grow up, I feel it's become a little bit challenge for other people in the man world. So my struggle is actually turn into something that multiply women who has leadership skills to actualize those skills, and also for others already oppressed with this challenge outside world from the outside world. To help them to actualize, develop those skills and actualize their skills in the man world.
Yeah, thank you. For me, the first time I felt like I am a leader when I was a kid, because I learned leadership from my mother and my father, and how we support each other as a family, as a group, as a small group, as a sister, as a brother, brothers and sisters. So I felt when I was a kid, I was a leader because I was young and I was responsible about my group, like my sister, my family, and my brothers. I help them. For example, I can cook for them, which is like very good. I'm young, but I can cook. I can clean my house. I can clean my place. So this like it's for example, in Morocco, some people they neglected, but it has a great meaning when you become like very responsible and you are very young. So I felt like when I was kid, I was a leader. Yeah. And Lisa?
So I first felt like a leader probably about 5 years ago, when I had the opportunity to speak on behalf of my community college in a legislative session here in Oregon. So really it was the act of somebody saying that they saw qualities of leadership within myself and wanting to amplify my voice to speak on behalf of my community. So when I was asked to speak in that capacity, it was really the first time that I ever saw myself as a leader and saw how I can convey my experiences in a way to uplift others.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next question is, why have you decided to work here at the Center for Women's Leadership?
Yes.
And for me, the answer was pretty glaring. So it was a couple of months after the presidential election here in 2016 when this job became available. And it just happened to be a couple of weeks after the Women's March, which was a march by women across the United States who were really protesting the way women had been depicted and treated in the campaign leading up to the presidential election. And I'm very, very claustrophobic, so I couldn't march. It was just too much for me. And a couple of people had sent me the job description, and I just said, oh my goodness, to be in a space where I'm working with women who are going to occupy space as leaders, all around Portland, all around Oregon, just sounded like a dream come true. And so I applied for the job, and I was fortunate enough to get the job. And for me, the way that I look at working for the Center for Women's Leadership, it's a way for me to march every day. It's a way for me to try to create spaces for girls and women with all kinds of different leadership traits. Believe it or not, I know you don't believe this because I keep talking, but honestly, I'm on the more introverted side. Seriously. Yeah. And so for me, marching means stepping back and providing space for other girls and women to lead, and to try to do the best that I can to have an organization where there are programs and possibilities for the women that we connect with at the center. So it's a form of protest, working for the center, and in my small way, it's a form of a revolution for girls and women in this country.
Yes.
Jalissa.
Yeah, so when I decided to work at the Center for Women's Leadership, I didn't think I would get the job because this was my official first job. I had never had one before, but the mission just spoke to me, the idea of uplifting other people, because like Tracy said, I am more on the reserve side. I really wanted to work. I still wanted to make a difference by finding those people that are willing to use their voice and lift them up as leaders and help them. And I think that's what spoke to me. Yeah.
When I first realized the existence of the center here in PSU, I was really excited because I really want to fight for women. I at least have an opportunity. I just realized that I at least have an opportunity to be with them, talk with them, and convince them to their skills already they have, and actually taking part of creating those positions or those opportunities for them to chase. The idea was really nice for me, and I'm so happy to be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, in my voice. Actually, I lived and I raised in a very patriarchal society in Morocco, and when I was a kid, I fight about women's rights. I fight about, as a kid, as a girl, I fight with my small society. Then I found myself, I'm working in women's leadership, or at the beginning I was empowering youth in general, but when I discovered the word gender and gender equality with Peace Corps in a training, I decided to empower girls. So I did it just because I love it, because I need to see, I felt like some girls, they have the same situation that I had in that very patriarchal society. And then when I applied for a fellowship with IREX Community Solution Program, and I was thinking which area that I'm gonna choose. So I said, okay, I will choose women issues and gender equality. But it was it's a big, women's issues and gender equality is very, very big. But when I had an interview with Tracy about women's leadership and the center and how they work, I felt yes, this is what I want. I want to be more professional, and especially when you work just with women. It's something. This is the first experience I had it. It's just something amazing, and you feel supported with this group of women, and they feel you, they support you, and just amazing. And I learned many things. That's why I choose Center for Women's Leadership in Portland.
So I work for the Center for Women's Leadership because it was really about aligning my personal values with my professional goals. So truthfully, it really was about answering my internal call to lift up other female identifying voices in an empowering way. So for me, it's just to try to create an avenue or to create that spark for another person, just like it was for me, to know that I can be a leader and that everyone does have those leadership qualities.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our last question for this morning is, what are the goals and dreams you have for girls and women around the world? And for me, it's really for us to connect, because I think that if we connect girls and women, we're much stronger if we're unified. And so when Hassania was talking about when she had an interview, we did a Skype interview, and she didn't mention that I didn't know how to work my camera. So she was very brave for taking the job with this mystery person, this black screen from thousands of miles away. But what she didn't tell me in that interview was that she was actually up. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was like because there is that different time from Oregon, Portland, and Morocco, like, and it was like 3 a.m. I did interview at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. And she didn't tell me that. She just did it, and she did this wonderful interview, and I could feel her and see her passion about girls and women coming through, just shining through Skype. And I mentioned that because I just think that shows how women and girls, the things that we do unnoticed, quietly, to get things done, to get what we want. And I feel like if we are able to connect our energy, we also talked recently, Hassania and I, about how the challenges that women have really are so similar across the world. The spectrum might be a little different in some areas, but at the end of the day, we're all treated unfairly, and we all have to work so hard for people to hear our voices. And so collectively, I think it's so powerful if we are able to connect and lift each other up, locally, but also internationally. So my dreams and hopes for the future of women is that we do connect and stay connected and become fortified through those connections and lift each other up so that we can change the narrative of what it means to be a leader, because we have a lot to offer, and the resilience, the hard work that we have done actually makes us better leaders.
Yeah, so I feel similarly, but overall, I think it is important for everyone to connect, because it would be wonderful if women were just free from oppression and that they could follow their own goals and dreams, and that's like my goal and dream. So yeah,
Thank you.
I agree, you both. For more, I would say I want this to be no longer an issue that we have to fight for. So everyone will, a world that everyone agree, women have the place in every positions, and we don't have to convince anybody or fight for it. Just become a natural leaders in every aspect, in every level of life. I would say my dream about this leadership and women issues is no longer be an issue in the world.
Yes, absolutely. I will not be disagree with you. Absolutely, what you said, it's correct. There are many similarities. When I came here, I thought felt like too different, too developed, and there are no similarities between Morocco and USA. But now there are many similarities between what's happening in Morocco and what's happening in Portland. So I feel like we have the same goal, we have the same dream, and I hope so like all the women all over the world, not just small communities or countries. No, we are one. We are human beings. We are women. So we need to be like this. We need to fight for our right, like one person. And that's what I learned, we are human beings whenever we go. So especially the women's issue, when I worked with singer and I heard their ideas, it's the same ideas that I heard from the 10 girls from Morocco. So yes, I hope we will be one all over the world.
All right, awesome. My dreams and goals for the future would be specifically for all young girls and women to really have an avenue to share their voice, and even if they feel like they don't have that avenue, to take the chance to share and speak their experiences openly. I know it took for me to find my leadership in order for somebody to give me that avenue to share my voice, and my goal would be to have women and girls to feel like they have that without being asked, to just feel like they have the ability to stand up and own their qualities of leadership without somebody having to offer it to them.
Thank Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have, just to
Yeah.
close and to follow up actually on what Melissa said, I totally agree with her. And we have a theme that emerged this year at the Center for Women's Leadership. So maybe a nice way to close is to remind all the girls and women around the world to rise up.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.